The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevy, the Florida Lottery, Best Parts, Best Prices, Bennett Auto Supply, Contender Boats, Performance Through Innovation, Navionics, We Start Where the Roads End, and Guy Harvey, artist, explorer, marine scientist, conservationist, and diver.
Listen, this Chevy Silverado is not happy. It's not happy because it's not doing anything, because it knows you have a to-do list with unchecked boxes, because it was built to constantly be on the prowl to get more done. Patience is not the Silverado's virtue. Doing is. The dependable, reliable Chevy Silverado.
Continuing the revolution. Faster, drier, even better built. Designed around Yamaha's latest technology outboards. Still built by the same craftsmen and anglers who launched the Bay Boat Revolution. Whether chasing world records, or time on the water with the family, or anything in between, there's a new Pathfinder model for you. Pathfinder, #1 for a reason, still.
Imagine brighter futures, where doors open for Florida students every day. Imagine building a better tomorrow, where playing means we all win. Now celebrating $25 billion to education in 25 years. The Florida Lottery, just imagine.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline 4-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. Legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
Welcome back to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. Our La Jolla region down in the Florida Keys is where we find Captain Randy Towle. Randy, give us the goods on the bait down in the Keys.
Hey guys, good evening. You know, my region's got bait both sides, offshore and backcountry, so it's a little tricky depending on which side of the bridge you're going to go catch bait. But you're always looking for birds. Birds are going to help you. If they're diving on the bay side, a lot of times they're on pilchards or mullet. If they're diving on the ocean side, generally they're on pilchards or small bait. But the birds are going to help you find the area where the bait's going to be. Now, depending on what you're trying to catch, you're going to want a cast net, something in the 8 to 10 foot range, small mesh. And also a small hole chum bag is important if you're going to chum your bait up to throw your net or to catch them on a sabinki rig, like a number 6 R&R bait rig is a real popular one down here to catch pinfish or pilchards or cigar minnows and things like that. So you can target your bait a couple of different ways here. Now, if you want to get offshore and catch some ballyhoos, for example, or cigar minnows, you're going to want to anchor on some of the patch reefs around Hawks Channel. They're probably 15 to 20 feet deep. You're going to put your chum bag out, here again, with small holes. The reason for that, a bigger hole chum bag's going to let too much chum out. The birds are going to come eat your chum, going to keep your bait down. So that's where the birds are at a disadvantage to you. But on the ocean side, you're going to find the ballyhoos like that. You chum them up, throw your cast net on top of them. Or if you want to have your bait last all day, catch them on a bait rig, use a de-hooker to put them in your bait well, never touch your bait, and that bait will last you all day.
All right, let's stay inshore. Tell me what's going on, Randy.
Tarpon. You know, Rick, we've been tarpon fishing up to our eyes this time of year. You're bait fishing or you're fly fishing, depending on what you like to do. Around the bridges, still a pretty good bite on mullet if you can find them. Live crabs are working well. and we've got this full moon going on, some strong tides, so you want to drift around with the current and find these fish. If you find some rolling fish, anchor up current of them, and you can sight cast your crab and let it drift back. Now, if you're a fly fisherman, we're all in the same boat right now. There's a lot of fish around, but they're tough to feed. You really got to be patient. You've got to throw a small fly, something light-colored, and something kind of worm-related has been the best bet right now around this full moon, because these fish have been really tough to get to open their mouth and bite. Plenty of fish coming by, but you got to be patient. If you want to catch one on the fly rod, you just have to wait and get that perfect shot, and you will get them. It's just going to take a little bit.
All right, let's go offshore, Bub.
Dolphin fishing's been red hot for the last couple of weeks. It's still going on strong right now, 500 to 800 feet of water. I've heard of a lot of big fish lately, 40 and 50 pounders. From Key Largo to Marathon has been pretty steady. Look for the birds. Here again, birds are key. They're going to be on your dolphin. If you can read the birds and tell what they're doing, it's going to tell you if they're schoolie dolphin or big dolphin. So you want to have your troll baits ready. I like to put out a couple of ballyhoos when I get around the birds while I'm looking for the bigger fish swimming into the current going down sea, and have those spinning rods ready to go with a flying fish or a live bait to cast in front of them while they're swimming. And don't be afraid to hook up more than one at a time.
What else you got for me offshore, Bub?
Our yellowtail. The yellowtail's on the reef. Now, a lot of guys are going offshore catching the dolphin, so the reef's been left alone, and the conditions have been really good with the yellowtailing. So 50 to 70 feet of water, find the current. That's one of the keys. If there's no current, then go dolphin fishing and don't even bother. But if you do have current and you've got a good condition, you certainly want to stop, anchor down, put your chum out. Right now, you don't have to use a lot of chum because they're pretty responsive once you put some chum. And if you have some oats that you throw in the water to get these fish up, it won't take very long to get the school up behind the boat, and you can start catching these things on cut bait, a piece of ballyhoo, a silver side, a little piece of squid, a small number 4 hook, and or a 16th ounce hookup is what I like to use a lot, and drift it back just like the chum's going out behind the boat, and you'll catch your limit of yellowtails before you know it.
All right, thanks, Randy. Looking good from the La Jolla, Florida Keys region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots. Captain Randy says inshore, dolphin, look for the birds in 500 to 800 feet, troll to the south and west, and look for those flying fish to be pushed up by the feeding dolphin. And then offshore, tarpon, drift the bridges with big live crabs, or anchor and sight cast to the rolling fish in the backcountry, fish with pinfish on a 4-foot cork rig.
All right, thanks guys. What do you say we check in now and see what tournaments are going on in the Keys? First off, it's the Veterans of Foreign Wars Fishing Tournament. It's set for June 8th in Key West. Cash prizes go out for dolphin, wahoo, snapper, and grouper, along with prizes for the top lady and youngster. Also set for June 11th to the 13th in Isla Mirada is the Florida Keys Women's Fly Tarpon Classic. Next, benefiting children's charities in the Keys, it's the 50th Annual Gold Cup Tarpon Tournament. June 17th through the 21st in Isla Mirada, 25 fly rod anglers will try their hands against the Silver King. And lastly, June 29th and 30th in Marathon, it's the 13th Annual Dolphin and Blackfin Tuna Fun Fishing Tournament with cash prizes awarded. Now let's get it to Andy Newman in the Florida Keys to find out about the featured tournament. Hey, Andy.
How you doing there, Lauren? And cash and prizes exceeding $15,000 are to be up for grabs at the Key West Gator Club Dolphin Derby. That's set for June 21st to the 23rd. Prizes include $5,000 cash for the boat team with the largest aggregate weight of 2 dolphin, 1 caught during each fishing day. Among other prizes, a $3,000 check to the individual angler who catches the contest heaviest dolphin. Now, more details on the tournament, they're at keywest.gatorclub.com. And, of course, Lauren and Rick, more information on all the tournaments and events in the Florida Keys at flakeys.com. Rick?
All right, thanks, Andy. Good job. And let's keep our good stuff going.
We're going to do it. Next up, we're going to head to the Northeast region. Captain Russell, it's a lucky night for you. We're talking food.
We
sort
are.
of. Only it's fish food this time. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Russell.
Hey, Lauren. Hey, Rick. Well, I tell you what, bait This is so cool to be talking about bait because the fact that nowhere in the state of Florida do we have the diversity that we have here. Not only do we have great fishing here in Northeast Florida, but we also have a tide range between 5 and 7 feet. Now, this moves a lot of water around, and with our soft and silty bottoms, it's important to have a variety of bait and knowledge about the bait because even if fishing artificial lures, if a fish can't see your lure, he will strike based on smell. So bait is a very useful tool to have on your boat because if you can't get the bite, you can use this bait or use insurance, as I would call it, to be able to get that bite. Now, in our inshore waters, you definitely want to use shrimp and crabs, mud minnows, fingerling mullet for redfish and sea trout, sheephead, flounder, and our drum. Now, nearshore fishermen, they like to fish with mullet and pogies to catch the cobia and the tarpon, the sharks, and also our big black drum. Now, if the guys are running offshore, they're going to want to use baits like, squid and cut Boston mackerel, cigar minnows, and, of course, Spanish sardines. Some of the preferred offshore trolling baits are like ballyhoo, ribbon fish, and, of course, pogies. Now, if we get further outside and we make it to the blue water, trolling for blue marlin, some of the larger baits that are used in that situation are Spanish mackerel and bonita. Now, what we want to do to locate the mullet is look for sandy banks where you can cast your net, and for the small V-weights that the mullet are going to push when they're swimming along the shorelines. Some of the good spots are like on the south end of Amelia Island, Porpoise Point, Salt Run, and St. Augustine, and, of course, Matanzas Inlet. Offshore, use a sabiki rig tipped with some squid to deep jig next to a sea buoy or maybe an artificial reef to catch some Spanish sardines or maybe some ballyhoo. Moving inshore, talking about our trout fishing. Boy, the last couple of weeks we've had a great trout bite. Some of the best trout fishing, of course, always happens in the spring and the fall. Now, what you want to do is you want to always target the bait movement. We have a lot of bait that are in our inshore waters, which is a very good sign. We've had a lot of rain a month ago, bad weather in April, but it's starting to clear up. It's starting to get better and better, and I'm seeing a lot of bait return, especially near the shorelines, points, and creek mouths. Now, to catch these trout, look for old shale beds and some of the bottoms and rock piles and even next to some of the drop-offs. Some of the big trout, I like to cast topwater plugs, especially at sunrise and sunset and on overcast days. Now, on bright days, go to a Trigger X Grey Ghost shrimp on a quarter-ounce hookup jig. Make it cast up and cross-current and, of course, maybe downwind if it's picked up. Best tides are the outgoing tides, and don't forget, a trout likes to strike a jig as it's falling, just off the bottom. Typical size of our trout are running anywhere from 1 to 3 pounds. Now, moving offshore.
Go ahead.
The offshore fishing. Boy, the cobia are still hanging on. We're at the end of the month, but they're still here in good numbers. The cobias are being caught by sight fishing, especially next to the buoys and tide lines, and under and over the pogie pods. Best time is, of course, when the sun is at its brightest, up during the middle of the day. Cobia love live baits, especially like blue crabs and mullet, pogies. A lot of people will tell you a live eel is a good bait. I just don't really find them on a regular basis. But the blue crabs, the mullet, are something that you can definitely catch, and you want to have in your live well when you go cobia fishing. Also, the cobia are being caught on a variety of artificial lures, plugs, jigs, and flies. Our typical cobia are running anywhere from 20 to 35 pounds. Now, I got a photo description here, a great photo of 2 big cobia caught by Brett Moore, which is the service manager at Ron Anderson Chevrolet, and his friend Cole McCarthy. Now, the cobia Brett Cole spotted and caught were swimming with a big ray on the St. Mary's tide line. Now, also, staying offshore, hey, get this, sea bass season opens June 1st. We're so excited about that. Now, what you want to do to target the sea bass, you want to fish over hard bottoms or maybe next to the limestone ledges in anywhere from 20 to 80 foot of water. Some of the smaller, younger fish are even caught on the jetties. Now, some of the good baits for sea bass include squid, shrimp, and cut baits, or you could take a jig and tip it with a squid. The fish food of the black sea bass is excellent and have a great flavor. Typical size of our sea bass are running anywhere to 1 to 3 pounds, Rick.
All right, Russell, thanks. We're going to go ahead and get to the strike zone hotspots from the Northeast region. Captain Russell said get your butt out and go locate sea trout at the creek mouths and cast topwater plugs at sunrise and sunset, or in those overcast days on the outgoing tides, you want to look for those trout as well. And then offshore, catch sea bass in depths of 20 to 80 feet on hard bottom and ledges. Use shrimp or cut bait or jigs tipped with squid, Lauren.
Okay, when we return, we're going to have the Costa Conservation Minute and check in with Captain Jeff Page. Come on back.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Rapala. Catch the latest at Rapala.com. Reactor, the best built performance sports watch, period. TRON, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Strike Zone Fishing. Sufix, the world's most hardcore fishing line. And Yamaha, reliability starts here.
Hey, what's going on here?
You want the long or the short answer?
Long, I guess.
Chevy's having a great deal on the 2013 Silverado, but you better hurry because we don't want to see a grown man cry spectacular.
What's the short answer? Nice.
The Chevy Memorial Day sale. Now get the 2013 Chevy Silverado All-Star Edition with a total value of $6,750. Plus, current Chevy truck owners can trade up for an additional $2,500 trade-in allowance and get America's best pickup coverage, including 2 years of scheduled maintenance.
Imagine brighter futures, where doors open for Florida students every day. Imagine building a better tomorrow, where playing means we all win. Now celebrating $25 billion to education in 25 years. The Florida Lottery, just imagine.
You already know about the La Jolla Resort in Isla Mirada, so let's talk about the La Jolla experience. With an on-site boat ramp, the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic is just minutes away. And when you return from fishing, there's barbecue pits to cook your catch while your family enjoys the pool or one of our new remodeled rooms. This historic resort, the La Jolla, is family-owned and operated and has a friendly staff ready to make your La Jolla experience a really great one.
You know there's more to it than luck. There's fishing the right bait, the water temperature, the wind, the season, and then there's the boat. We'll put it simply, the boat matters. To own a Contender is to own the best sport fishing boat on the market, period. Contender offers the most comprehensive model range with bigger, faster, and more fuel-efficient boats than the competition. There's only one choice for serious anglers. Contender Boats. Performance through innovation.
Today's Costa Conservation Minute is about the Billfish Conservation Act, which President Obama signed in October of 2012. What this means is now we have a banning of any importation of billfish in the United States. And although there's no commercial fishery targeting billfish, unfortunately they were bycatch. And what I mean by bycatch, marlin, sailfish, and spearfish were being caught when guys were out trying to catch tunas as well as swordfish. Now we were importing over 300,000 billfish a year, and they were being sold in our restaurants. Now that's not going to be allowed to happen. What this means is the president of IGFA, Rob Kramer, says that they can take more of a robust action in international waters, helping save the declining billfish, which have declined in the last years up to 50%. There's been some great other supporters in this bill, and I gotta tell you, if you wanna know more about it, you go to IGFA.org and find out how you can become more of a part of saving our billfish worldwide. That's today's Costa Conservation Minute.
All right.
Well, I gotta tell you, it's just so important that we save these billfish, but do it worldwide, not just locally here in the state of Florida or on our U.S. coast, you know?
Yeah, but it's huge. We're taking action right here. It's a good
Absolutely.
place to start.
That's right.
All
Absolutely.
right,
Set
guys.
by example.
That is right. Last up tonight is the Central West region. It's Captain Jeff Page who has all the info for us. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, guys. You know, in the Starbright West Central region, we have a variety of bait and a lot of different ways of catching them. First, the fin fish, you know, pilchards, pinfish, red fins, mullet, all those characters. Probably the best way to catch them is a cast net. And folklore has it that in Charlotte and Manatee County, a lot of the tower fishermen come out of the mama's womb with a cast net in their hand. So,
okay.
yeah, man, I'm telling you, those guys, they love throwing their cast net. And two sizes are all you're going to need for 75% of the bait in that West Central region, a 3/8 and a 1/4 inch net. Now, length of net is all about how well you can throw it and how deep water you're throwing it in. But a good size to start with that'll pretty much work just about anywhere you need it is an 8-footer. Now, bigger mesh net like a 5/8 and a 1 inch is strictly for big thread fins, blue runners, and mullets. And those are nets that are going to sink faster due to the bigger holes in the monofilament material, and usually they'll tie in a heavier lead line. Now, for shrimp, a dip net's all you need. You can either anchor up in a pass, a jetty, or you can walk out on a grass flat at night with a headlamp on and use your dip net that way and look for the shrimp's eyes glowing. Or if you're lucky enough to have a dock with good current going by, you can dip shrimp off your dock. For crabs, dip net, same thing. Get in the passes, and on the outgoing tide, look for a weed line and dip your crabs there. Or you can put out crab traps like you do with your pinfish traps, Rick. And time of year, pretty much year-round, you can cast net bait. Crabs are better in the summertime, and then the shrimp are better in the wintertime. And I have a photo. I had to send it in because any pilchard throwing man's going to see that photo and get excited. When you've got a well full like that, it's time to go fishing.
Yeah, it is, man. You got them stacked in there, man. All right, let's go stay inshore. What do you got, bub?
Inshore, speckled trout, nice. Pre-spawn and spawning speckled trout are up on the deeper grass flats early in the morning. Look for the pilchards flicking. We're talking about bait. Look for pilchards flicking. Look for white terns diving. And lots of silver mullet. Not the big black mullet that I like, Rick, but lots of silver mullet, and I believe those big speckled trout eat those along with the pilchards. Throw topwater plugs like the Mirror She-Dog and the Chrome Chartreuse pattern. Flats like the Bulkhead at the mouth of the Manatee River. Long Bar Flats in Sarasota Bay. And then down south, out front of Catfish Creek and Devilfish Key, are great flats in Charlotte Harbor where you can get big speckled trout right now, and they're averaging 20, 24 inches.
All right, let's go offshore, bub.
Offshore, Captain Chris Seeger reports that the full moon mangrove snapper bite was really good, but look for the big mang still holding over wrecks and springs in 100 to 140 feet of water. And the key is we still haven't had much rain, so use as light a leader as possible, because not only is the water clear inshore, but the water's clear out in that Gulf of Mexico too. Some of the baits, cut sardines, live shrimp, and remember, a good chum bag overboard, and then cutting up small pieces of chum and doling them out as needed. Don't over chum, don't overfeed your snappers, but to get them to come up to where you're not going to have them take you down on those rocks, and you can use lighter tackle, lighter leader. Species 2, permit. I've gotten reports from guys to the south, down around Englewood and Stump Pass. I've gotten reports from guys up around Anna Maria, and the permits have shown up, and the number seems to be 7 to 12 miles over the artificial reefs. Get out there early. You're going to see the fish up spinning on top over the wrecks and reefs. If you aren't able to get out early, maybe get out there and drop down some flat lines. Look for cobias, look for groupers, but you're going to always catch a few permits. The only problem is, once in a while, those Goliath groupers like to eat them too. So remember, stout rod and reel to get them in quick, light leader because due to the clear water. And always, always remember, get you a Chevy truck.
All right, thanks, Jeffrey. Good job. We're going to go ahead and get a chance to look at the TRON hotspots from the Central West region. Captain Jeffrey says, inshore, tarpon along the beaches. Look for the big pods laid up tarpon early in the morning. Throw free line crabs or thread fins at them, and then try and lead the school and use light leaders as possible due to the clear water. And then offshore, red snapper, lots of catch and release reds holding on the wrecks and the springs in 80 to 140 feet of water. Remember, the season opens next week, so get ready for it, Lauren. Come on.
All righty. Well,
let's go ahead. Get ready for it.
Let's go.
I'm ready.
When we return, Rick, we're going to tell everybody what we've got for them next week. You guys come back.
Come on.
Imagine brighter futures, where doors open for Florida students every day. Imagine building a better tomorrow, where playing means we all win. Now celebrating $25 billion to education in 25 years. The Florida Lottery, just imagine.
The Johnsons, right?
Yeah.
Which house is yours?
The one with the Silverado up front.
So, what do you do?
Well,
Nice. And Bingo was his name.
The Chevy Silverado, the most dependable, longest-lasting, full-size pickups on the road. For work, for life, Chevy Silverado.
Hi. I lost a big fish earlier today. Wasn't using Sufix. It was about this big.
Look, slow down there, cowboy, okay? A fish in the lost it van, huh? You want your fish. Sorry, honey, that fish is gone.
Always use the best line, Sufix 832.
It's got the punch of a heavyweight and the pounds of a lightweight. Welcome to the main event featuring the new Yamaha 4-stroke F70, tipping the scales at up to 142 pounds lighter than its 4-stroke competitors. That's a class-leading power-to-weight ratio, a haymaker of a whole shot, surprising mid-range punch, incredible fuel economy, and industry-leading innovation, performance, and reliability. The Yamaha 4-stroke F70, reliability starts here.
If you like fishing or the history of fishing, then I have a must-see place for you. The IGFA Fishing Hall of Fame and Museum in Dania Beach. What makes the IGFA so cool is that they have theaters where you can learn about the journey of fishing, galleries where the kids can see antique reels or catch a big one. The Hall of Fame room has over 140 beautiful fish mounts, and maybe in the E.K. Harry Library, you may see a live alligator. For more family fun, go to igfa.org.
Next week on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, we'll be talking bass. Make sure to check us out next Thursday, June 6th. You can catch repeats on Friday and Saturday. Just check or visit Sun Sports and your local listings for more details.
You know, Rocco, I found him over there in the live audience, and I asked him, during one of the commercial breaks, how big a fish that he ever caught. And he was a typical fisherman. He caught a 12-pound grouper that he told me was 45 pounds. That's what I like. By the time he got home, he had a 45-pound grouper that was actually 12. Rocco, you just keep fishing, have Dad take you. And more importantly, you get to go home and tell all your friends, hey, look, I was on TV with Captain Rick and Lauren and Big Harry.
Big Harry.
Say
Bye,
goodbye.
guys.
Take care.